Without further ado, let's bring on our next guest. She's with me almost every Friday, unless, of course, she is doing some important spiritual work on some higher dimensional plane other than this one, in which case she's not here. Here she is, Katie Gallanti.
Hi, Robert.
Hey, Katie.
I'm lazy and I can't get myself on the radio.
I was giving you the benefit of the doubt, okay?
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
Actually, maybe lazy is not the right word, but sometimes I'm not in public space. Do you know what I mean?
I certainly do know what you mean.
Yeah. Okay.
But you are right now, so let's get public.
Well, I wasn't even thinking about, we had talked about me coming on every 2 weeks, but the past couple of days there's been quite a lot of stuff going on, and yesterday I was kind of connecting a couple of dots of my own, so I was thinking, to maybe have a little chit-chat about it and see what you think. I haven't even talked to you about some of it, so, but basically, Royal Wedding, should we start there?
Yeah, let's start with the Royal Wedding. And Charlie, who I know you're going to talk about, got arrested.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing that really there are two things that struck me about. So if people don't know what we're talking about, Charlie Veach, who is the founder of the Love Police, who started the Love Police 2 years ago, I guess on May Day, has become kind of a cause celeb and kind of a marked man in some ways now. He was rallying the troops, so to speak, to do a protest on the royal wedding, and he put out a YouTube video talking about this, and he was actually talking. This is what I found to be ironic, Katie. He was talking about why he doesn't get arrested, and then he got arrested. Did you catch that?
Oh, I did, but also I caught something else at the end of that I thought was kind of weird. Right.
So anyway, he said that he doesn't get because people would ask, well, why don't you get arrested? Well, I don't get arrested because I'm living in my truth and I have angels, or he wasn't really using that language. He's basically saying I'm protected because I'm living in my truth. And then next thing you know, he gets arrested, which I thought was pretty interesting. But he was arrested, and one of the things that they're talking about this is a pre-crime, and this is straight out of Minority Report. And this is nothing new. This has been going on. This is a big practice in, obviously, Nazi Germany and also South America in the 70s and the 80s, where the disappears were very prevalent. So they basically took him out of the mix before anything could happen.
Yeah, that's right. And what they've arrested him for is conspiracy to cause public nuisance. That's the charge, right?
Yeah.
But also interesting in that video, right at the end, he says about 5 times, so I have to do this, so please don't arrest me, please don't arrest me. He said it about 5 times.
Yeah.
And then they arrested him within like half an hour. But I have my own theories about Charlie. I think that Charlie, in some ways, he started off on a very high ground, and I think that he's allowed himself to get a little bit too enmeshed with the whole fight duality thing of the whole thing, and as a result, he is creating a lot of. It's almost like he's inviting the fight, and by doing that, it's arriving on his doorstep, right? The energy that he's putting out is very rumbly. Do you know what I mean? It's very conflictual.
Well, yeah,
so
it's become
he's inviting conflict in.
It's become more police and less love.
Yeah, it's more of a beat the police than love the police.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that he does not have, he has his own reasons for feeling that way, and as a human being, I empathize and all that. But the result of going out in that kind of antagonistic kind of way is that you then invite the antagonism to come to you, right?
Yeah.
It just is the way that it is.
Yeah.
But regardless of him, there's the Royal Wedding. Did you have a look at it?
I did not have a look at the Royal Wedding. I was exhausted yesterday, and so I slept.
Well, I had a look at kind of like, the salient moments of online, right? Because I don't have a TV, so I don't do the watch TV thing. And I thought that I was kind of looking for clues because there's a lot of stuff about this wedding. I mean, if you just look at the footage, you got lovely prince that looks lovely as usual, and she looks gorgeous, and it does really look all very sweet and fairy tale like and very nice and so on. However, we know from all of the research that we have done over the years that this is not a sweetsy family, right?
Right.
You know, his mother was killed in a ritualistic way.
Right.
Right. He is the moon child, right?
He's also the Sun King.
He is the Sun King and the moon child, so he was born probably ritualistically. Yeah. Because he was born on an eclipse, and if you look at his chart, that eclipse is on his midheaven. Mm-hmm. How more intense can you get in terms of astrology? Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
No, it is. Yeah, it's an absolute, utter lock. Yeah.
Yeah. So he that kind of stuff. I believe in that kind of family does not happen by chance. I think he was. I think that the whole Diana thing was a ritual in itself right from the beginning. Like they found somebody that was a Cancerian. She's called Diana. All of the alignment. It's a particular female archetype that they're pulling in her. Mm-hmm. And then, she was also killed in a well, we can't say that she was killed, but it could be that she was killed, right, in a ritualistic fashion. Now, then we have this wedding that is happening now between these two people, and it's happening on what day? On the 29th of April, right? Right. Mm-hmm. So, and it's a Friday. Isn't it odd that they're doing a wedding on a Friday? Well, you would think they would do it on a weekend, right? Yep. So there's a reason for which this is happening on the 29th. So I've started doing some digging around that, and this research that I've done was literally, it's not me doing grand research. I went onto the internet and I found various articles and various pieces from other people, and I didn't list down all the names, but they're basically on the web. If you type in occult wedding, you will find a lot of stuff, right? And basically the 29th is all of the period between April 19th and May 1st is like the peak of the Satanic holidays that culminates on May Day. Do you know what I mean? May 1st. Right. Traditionally, there's a lot of bad stuff that happens because there's all these ritualistic type, sacrifice type things that happen in between those dates. So apparently the 29th is, on these various thingies, Walpurgis Eve, right? Yes. Okay, that is apparently a major thing in the Satanic holiday ritual type calendar, even pointed out by LaVey, right? Mm-hmm, okay. Mm-hmm. It is also, because it's the 29th, the 29th of every month apparently is named the moon of, I don't know how to spell this. I know how to read it, but I don't know how to pronounce it, right? But mm-hmm. It's Hecate?
Hecate, yeah.
Yeah? Okay, and what kind of deity? She's a dark deity, right? But I can't remember which one.
Underworld, goddess of the underworld.
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
So that's the 29th of every month, and so this day is also that, okay? Uh-huh. Also, it appears that there's this thing that has been documented by Fritz Springmeier. Mm-hmm. You know, the guy that did the book that I was talking about last time?
Yep.
That was the Super Mind Control Stave guy? Okay. Apparently, every 28 years, there is this major satanic thing that goes on for a whole year, right? Mm-hmm. It's like a peak year. It's every 28 years. And there was one in 1954, one in 1982, and there should be one in 2010. Now, that does not mean that it's January 1st, 2010 to the end of 2010. It starts in 2010. So it could still be going on right now, okay? Mm-hmm. And this thing is called, big thing is called the Feast of the Beast, okay? Mm-hmm. And apparently it is the grand year, and it's interesting, 28 is like a Saturn cycle, right? 28 years is a Saturn cycle, and Saturn is
That's right. And and Prince William is in his Saturn return right now.
Is he really? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so there's a lot of that going on. And basically, this ritual, it's kind of like the Wicker Man type deal, where there's a marriage to a virgin that then gets sacrificed, and that this is the year in which all of the world leaders, they get together basically to channel the highest demonic forces to get their orders for the next 28 years.
Uh-huh.
Okay? And so we have, we have a high prominent wedding, right? In the tradition, obviously, I don't think that this is true of Kate Middleton, but in the olden tradition, the royal bride was always supposed to be a virgin, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so on. So I'm not saying that any of this is true, all right? Because I haven't done enough research to really back any of this, but I was just looking at all of this and thinking, isn't this interesting? There really is a lot of symbolism, right? Going on around this particular date that they have chosen. And then, while I was looking at at all of this, there were two things that were standing out for me, all right? And one was the fact that all of these big rituals, they have a sacrifice component. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. They have a sacrifice, somebody, like a blood sacrifice of some kind. And then the other thing was that I was looking at the wedding itself to kind of, like the snippets that I looked at, to see, if this were a pagan thing, where would we, a dark pagan, I don't want to insult the pagans, there's a lot of lovely pagans, but I'm talking dark pagan, right? Where would we see it? And the only thing that I saw that really struck me, right, in the wedding, was that, and I don't know if this is done if it has been done before, or if it's done as part of normal Anglican type ceremonies, because I'm not an Anglican, so I don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
But basically, when they took their vows, after the vows were spoken, and they were all spoken in a very normal kind of way, I think it's the Archbishop, right, that came along, and he wrapped this golden thing all around. Basically, he did a hand fasting. You know what a hand fasting is, right?
Yeah.
Like in the pagan marriage, they wrap either a rope or a piece of material around both of the people's wrists,
right?
So that they can be bound, right? But that is a pagan. That's a pagan thing. That is not a Christian thing.
Right.
Okay? So it was very interesting, just because I was watching this, and I was thinking, well, that's pagan. Do you know what I mean? And so I thought that was interesting, right?
Well, they were also blending elements of different marriage traditions. Like she had, I think, bindi on her hands, right? I mean, if you looked at her hands,
really,
she had bindi. I mean, so they were bringing elements of Hinduism. I believe they're also bringing elements of Judaism and Christianity and paganism into the wedding. So, and that is a foreshadowing of, I think,
of the one world,
of the one world, government, one world religion, which is supposed to be this kind of feel-good experience, right? So,
and let's remember, as usual, that's very important that you brought that in, because let's remember, as usual, we have to think about things from the point of view of what they're doing, okay? Well, we don't have to, but if we want to go down this road, that's the route. And so if we come to the point of view, from the point of view that this is a ritual, okay, and that rituals are things that they use for manifestation, okay? So the purpose of ritual is that it's not just, why do they do ritual? Is it just, so it's a nice symbolism? No. They do it because they are, through ritual, they are expressing the intention for future manifestation. That's what all ritual is about.